Hello friends, my name is Jacob Panasiuk and I am still traveling to tropical islands in search of new adventures with elements of fishing,
Yes! Yes!
hunting, spearfishing and bushcraft. And of course I'm testing myself in survival conditions. I was in the camp lying in a hammock and sheltered under a tarp from the tropical rain. Spiders, ants, and other insects were hiding with me. As soon as the rain stopped, I took out a knife from my backpack and started organizing my camp. I needed to rebuild the smoker. Also from my backpack, I took out a portable camp kitchen. It's an aluminum thing that I first tried in the forests of Germany. Very lightweight and versatile. It includes a pot, a turbo stove in the form of a twig burner, and a liter flask. Since today I want to go underwater hunting in the ocean, I need to fill this flask with fresh water. Not far from the camp, I collected coconuts and poured all the juice from them into the aluminum flask. This supply will last me for a day. I've already shown you how I made the smoker. I placed a small grill made of stones at the bottom. With the help of a knife, I sharpened branches and set them up around the grill in the form of a tube. I cut large green banana leaves and wrapped the smoker with them. This resulted in a tube-like structure. And this is how a primitive smoke generator looks. Among the debris, I need to find a tin can. I stuffed dry eucalyptus leaves inside it and added a bit of water so that these leaves would smolder inside the tin can without catching fire. And now, from the other side, I tightly close this can to minimize the oxygen supply so that the leaves don't catch fire but smolder inside the smoker. I added herbs, small branches, and dry leaves. I will insert the smoke capsule on top. But first, I need to start a fire. I made shavings using a saw and then ignited it using a fire starter. The fat wood caught fire, and with its help, I lit my turbo stove. The aluminum capsule with eucalyptus leaves quickly heated up and started producing dense smoke. Inside this smoker, I hung the caught fish. Now all that's left is to wait for the fish to cook. I controlled the process and periodically added small branches to the turbo stove. In just half an hour, my fish was ready. I sat on the hammock and tried what I had accomplished. The fish was very delicious, juicy, and aromatic. The meat was tender and fatty, and there was a golden, crispy crust on top. I ate every bit of the bone. Afterward, I washed it down with coconut juice. I gathered all the items I would need for underwater hunting in the ocean. Of course, I took my woven basket for catching and headed towards the water. I arrived at the ocean when the tide hadn't started yet and the waves weren't strong. I needed to seize the moment, so I took my mask and snorkel and dived underwater. This time I brought a spear with me. I really enjoy underwater hunting with my homemade bamboo spear. It's a kind of small primitive gun for underwater hunting. Easy to make and quite effective underwater. The tide was already starting, the waves were rising, and the water was getting quite murky. I swam to the rocks covered in dense grass. Fish often hide in such places. I swam along this coral reef and occasionally took shots with my spear at passing fish. Suddenly, among the rocks covered in grass, I saw long white antennae. And I wasn't mistaken. There were lobsters under those rocks. I swam around the back of the rock, submerged, and gradually approached my prey so that the lobster's eyes wouldn't notice me. I positioned myself right above it, guided by the long white antennae protruding from under the rock. I loaded my Hawaiian sling and took an accurate shot. But the lobster wasn't giving up so easily. It slipped off my sling and swiftly swam away, trying to hide in the grass. I managed to grab it by its antennae, but they broke off and it kept swimming. But no, I wouldn't let such a catch slip away. Today, luck was on my side. I'll take those antennae with me too. They might come in handy. What a beauty. These lobsters are called blue lobsters or bamboo lobsters. Despite being injured, it held on to my hand firmly and didn't want to let go. I pulled out my woven basket and placed my catch inside. I immediately loaded my sling again and returned to those rocks, attempting to catch another lobster. I searched every crevice, looked under every rock, but the other specimens had hidden deep inside. Look, there's another rock, and there's a cave inside. And right beneath me, a small barracuda was swimming by. I managed to hit it, though it got caught between the teeth of my spear. The waves were getting bigger, and the water was becoming even murkier. I decided to head back to the shore. The lobster was of quite a decent size. And during my underwater hunt among the rocks, I even managed to find these underwater swimming goggles. I'm probably not the only one who knows about this fruitful place. After all, this island is inhabited, and maybe the locals also try to catch lobsters here. Today, we'll have a delicious meal. Friends, take a look at what I saw underwater. It's a tiny blue-ringed octopus. Just look at this little one. Notice how quickly it camouflages and changes color, blending with the surroundings, becoming almost invisible. And this little one is actually quite dangerous despite its modest size. It was quite brave. By the way, these octopuses are also some of the most venomous creatures in the world. The venom of the blue-ringed octopus has neuroparalytic effects. In other words, it causes paralysis of the motor areas of the nervous system, leading to respiratory arrest and consequently heart failure. In short, a very small, beautiful, and dangerous inhabitant of the ocean. Now, this very tiny creature is a small crab. And here's that menacing sea star you saw in the last video about the Shark Island. This creature detached from the reef and descended to the bottom. With the help of your comments, I managed to identify who it was. So let's go back to the catch. As you can see, the lobster's body is tightly covered in sharp and dangerous spikes. Handling them with bare hands can cause serious injuries. This is why I use special gloves during underwater hunting. It's very beautiful, but also well protected from dangerous predators. The tide has started. The waves were rising higher and higher. I set up a fire and sharpened a branch with a knife, which will serve as my skewer. I'll use it to cook the caught prey. First, the lobster needs to be cleaned. I brought its antennae for this purpose. You've seen how to clean a lobster with them many times on my channel, so I won't repeat it. I put the lobster on the stick like this, and that's what I'll use to roast it. The fire was burning nicely. I'll lower it closer to the coals. The lobster shell will protect the meat, preventing it from burning. It will cook in its own juices. Fresh lobster doesn't need much time to cook, so the meat doesn't dry out. But despite these clever tips, I got a bit distracted and ended up overcooking the lobster. But it's okay, it will still be delicious. I'll start with the tail. That's where most of the meat is. The waves kept getting higher and the tide was pushing in. I savored every moment and every juicy piece of this catch. In my mind, I thanked nature for this tasty food. I decided to stay by the ocean shore until it got very dark. When the water level rises and the waves calm down, I'll grab my spear, mask, snorkel, and also a flashlight for underwater hunting. I'll see what's happening underwater at night. And at night, the scene completely changes. The water calms down, becoming much clearer, but the depth in the same spot increases significantly during high tide. The water level rises up to 2 meters. Active fish fall asleep and become an easy catch, but underwater predators only come out to hunt at night, including me. Look here, in a small cave. A very beautiful fish was swimming, like an underwater submarine. I swim further and carefully peer, and suddenly I see the white whiskers under the rock again. And as soon as I dived to the lobsters, there was only a murky spot left in their place. They hid. It's a pity this fish is inedible. It would have been a nice catch. I continue swimming. Look here at the bottom, a fish lizard. But its reaction was faster than mine. I couldn't catch it. Here's another one. A very fast fish. But right next to it was a dusky dotty-back fish. I managed to hit it, but it got between the teeth of my spear and swam away. It's very difficult to catch such a thin fish with such a spearhead. Look, and here under the rock, there are many striped catfish. Someone from the subscribers wrote to me that these fish are quite poisonous and cannot be eaten. And here's an empty shell from a huge mollusk. Once I caught and cooked it, but this one was empty. I shone a light into the depth and saw two reflections. They were a couple of very small squids, male and female. I decided not to disturb them and end my underwater hunt. Well, when I returned to the camp, the rain started again.